Hi, stock investors. JJ here. Welcome back. Well, today we're going to have a look at what Dan Ives is saying. He thinks it's just a bump in the road, the recent tech sell-off, and there's a lot to go. He's very bullish, of course, on tech. Is Dan Ives? Let's see what he's got to say.
Did it scare you a little bit? I've read your notes. Did it really scare you a little bit last week to see what happened with Alphabet and Tesla and their results?
I mean, Dom, it didn't, because if I look at the underlying AI growth in cloud, specifically from Alphabet, that's bullish. And where's Tesla going to be spending? It's going to be on incremental AI. Look, I think there's going to be a big week for tech earnings. I mean, when you look at Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, Meta, this AI revolution, I think, is just starting. And that's why I continue to look at it as a get the popcorn out moment in terms of this tech bull market. This sell-off, I view it as a bump in the road, not the end.
Okay, so get the popcorn out moment. He's full of catchphrases, isn't he? So he thinks there's a bump in the road here. We've had Tesla and Alphabet, as they said, didn't really live up to expectations, although Alphabet wasn't too bad. Spending a lot of capex on AI, of course, and he thinks this is bullish for the future. Got these other big techs coming up, see what happens. Tesla didn't go too well. I went through those earnings on the other channel, the Art of Value, went through them sort of line by line and looked at the numbers. They were not great. So a lot's riding on robotaxis and AI, of course, and Dan Ives is very bullish here. Let's see what else he's got to say, apart from it's a get the popcorn out moment. He has said in the past that it's only 9 p.m. and the party's just getting started. It's going till 4 a.m. as far as AI-related tech goes, like similar, sort of indicating that it's sort of 1995 and, you know, the dot-com bubble went up to 2000.
All right, you got the popcorn out. So which of those four that I mentioned is going to be the main event for you?
Look, I think the main event is really going to be Apple, because that, to some extent, is really what we're seeing in terms of China growth. Obviously, iPhone 16 coming out September, the AI story, what we're seeing about demand. I think that'll probably have the broadest impact on the overall market. But then you look at cloud, Amazon, Microsoft. I expect strength there, similar as we saw in Alphabet. And I think that's what really...
Okay, so cloud is going to be, well, we could say that that's probably going to be strong. We'll have to wait and see in the earnings. In terms of Apple, when you're saying about China there, I have seen just recently about iPhone's not the number one seller there by far. I think it was like coming in at number 5 or something on a just survey. I'm not sure about that, but I think so. But Apple is Apple, you know, that's one of Warren Buffett's biggest stocks as well. So, but quarter to quarter, we'll have to see what happens there. But he's obviously, Dan Ives is pretty bullish on all of these big techs still.
Really, the market's focused on here, despite a white knuckle scare last week for the bulls.
All right, because you brought it up, I'm just going to follow up really quickly, because Apple's AI features will reportedly arrive now later than expected. A Bloomberg report says that they will now come in October instead of September and miss the upcoming software update cycle. So what does this mean for Apple's earnings call on Thursday, given that the Apple Intelligence feature is so front and center?
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't move the needle at all for us. I think it's really focused on iPhone 16 September. I think this is really going to be an AI-driven super cycle. And at the end of the day, those customers will be going to be getting those AI features. I don't view that. It all comes down to developers. Developers getting it on time, that's the hearts and lungs of the Apple ecosystem. That's the street's focused on.
Developers. I agree there. I mean, it's, you know, one quarter, it's just an earnings call, one earnings. It'd be interesting to see, definitely considering, is there a consumer slowdown? We're seeing that in some companies coming out, but he's, you know, the super cycle of the iPhone coming out and with AI features or Apple Intelligence features and working with OpenAI. Don't forget that it's not fully integrated in. There's a click away with Siri, but a lot of people have been waiting that for a long time, and people will upgrade, and will it spread word of mouth? We'll have to see how that actually impacts Apple's financials, but that will be the real test, really, the new iPhone with Apple Intelligence.
You mentioned the cloud and the AI stuff that goes along with both Microsoft and with Amazon. If you take a look at those two stocks vis-a-vis what happened with Alphabet earlier this past week, Maybe the results are positive, like you point out, but the stock reactions were not. So does this mean there's a shift in investor feeling or sentiment with regard to just what these AI ambitions are and how much they'll cost?
Yeah, it's a great question. Look, I think it's more just nervousness around when we're going to see AI monetization. Stocks have had monster runs. Some of the rotation to small cap. Is it over? But I believe this is the second inning of a 9-inning game. I mean, it is still 9 p.m. in this AI party that goes to 4 a.m.
I knew he was going to say that. Of course, he's going to say that. Just getting second innings, 9 a.m. going to 4 p.m. He does think that this has got a long time to run, this tech cycle. I mean, talking about the 1990s, he and Gene Munster from Deepwater saying the same thing, that this is going to go for years yet, implying that it's going to be like the dot-com bubble, which is a long run-up, but not a great ending, really. And so anyway, if you're getting value out of this video so far, I really appreciate it if you hit that like button. And while you're doing that, let me tell you about ShareSite. I've partnered with ShareSite as an affiliate. It's a product I use myself, a service, really good service. It's a platform for reporting, portfolio reporting, and tracking. So it tracks all your performance in one place. I have multiple brokers, and it brings in automatically trades to then you can upload your historical trades, which I have done. And it's really good. You have to iron out a few of those trades, but you can go back years and years if you want to see your true performance. It has also crypto in there. You see Bitcoin, and it will be good for tax reporting as well. Track investment performance over the long period. It helps your accountant to deal with tax as well, and you can visualize your portfolio, which is really good in different ways, in different manners, and track investment income as well. Now I'll leave a link in the description for that if you want to check that out. Now let's get back to Dan Ives and see what else he's got to say, apart from the party's just getting started.
So, and I think that's what we're going to see. It's all about you follow the CapEx, follow the spending. That to me, that like last week, Alphabet, Tesla, those sell-offs are buying opportunities, golden buying opportunities in our opinion.
And what about Meta platforms? People have been focused so much on Apple and Microsoft and Nvidia and Alphabet. I mean, Meta platforms is still pretty high up there with regard to its weight in the markets. What do you need to see from Meta?
It's about the read-through from Alphabet. If you look at on advertising, that rebound, I think, is going to continue. That's what Zuckerberg's going to talk about. And look, even though that they've gotten, I think some worries about their spending on AI CapEx, that's the right move. I mean, I think they are laying out. This is an AI arms race playing out, and Meta is not going to be on the outside looking in.
Okay, so what he's talking about there, the CapEx involved in AI is all these big companies, including Meta, spending. CapEx has gone up, definitely gone up, and they're spending big on AI. So they're really, will it pay off? Will they get a good return on investment? I mean, the one argument is that if it doesn't work out so well, they can still use that equipment that they're buying. They can use it for other things, and we'll have to see. Meta's pretty strong over the long term with earnings, so we'll have to see. Is it going to be a slowdown in growth? Is their CapEx getting too big? We'll have to see. It's going to be an interesting week.
And before we let you go, out of all the Mag 7, what do you think is going to be the best one in the next 12 months?
Okay. I think a year from now, Apple, $4 trillion market cap. Microsoft will get there as well as the godfather of AI, Nvidia. But it comes down to Apple. Right now, massive talents in Cupertino.
Okay, so he thinks Apple's going to have a good run. Obviously, as I said, Warren Buffett, one of his biggest stocks, he's trimmed it a little bit, but not much. It's a massive percentage of Berkshire Hathaway's portfolio, so it's pretty interesting to see, and that he's keeping up with that. It's one of the big tech that Warren Buffett has bought. Okay, what do you think of that? Let me know in the comments if you agree with Dan Ives or not. What's going on with what he thinks there is at 9 p.m. and the party's going till 4 a.m. Let me know. Also on the screen now, I'm going to put a link to a video that YouTube thinks that you should watch next on screen, and also a link to the subscribe here if you're not subscribed already, if you want to keep up with this content. And don't forget this ShareSite link in the description there. And thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.